What's up, you guys? Hello. I'm about to do a live podcast recording on personal identity upgrades that have had to go into place at each phase of my business. So this is what you're in for today. And as per usual, if you're here with me live, give me a hi, give me a hello. And if you're here with me on the replay, give me a hashtag replay. Oh my goodness, it's been such a busy day, such a busy morning filled with so much amazing things. So I'm going to make sure I'm recording and set up on this end so I don't forget. Hello, come on in. Okay, microphone's on. Need to record. Here we go, you guys. I feel like this is gonna be a good episode. I have a gut feeling about this. Let me just do it. Let me just get started.
Recording in progress.
What's up, my love? Welcome back to the Big Dreamers Bible podcast. I'm your host, Tanya Jane, and today is a solo episode, and I'm going to be diving into the topic, personal identity upgrades that I have had to go through at each phase of my business. So I'm going to start with the first phase of my business, which was 0 to 100K. Then I'm going to talk about what needed to occur, who I needed to become, the thoughts, beliefs, and habits I needed to take on, embody, do, be, have, to go from 100K to the multi six-figure level to $500,000 and over and beyond that, over 500K in my business. And then I'm going to talk about where I'm at now and what I'm bumping up against now. So this one's going to be insight, wisdom, and also a personal, vulnerable share of like what I'm feeling now, what I'm working through now, and my own personal identity upgrades that are happening right this second, like in process, here and now. Before we get into today's episode, I just want to do a little recap of my day today because it's been such a fucking awesome day. And it's just one of those days, it's one of those weeks where I'm just like skipping around, high on life, just in awe of life, business, and everything in between. Today started off with a fucking fire power hour inside SOD. And this is new. This is something that I just introduced into SOD this month. And it was a success. It was a success. I literally messaged Chelsea on my team and I was like, Power Hour fucking slayed. Like, we crushed Power Hour. And I'm currently live on my Instagram as well. Hi, Teresa. Oh my God, Mastermind Call to Live podcast, slaying. I'm going to Cabo in 2 days. I need to be prepared. Need to be prepared in advance. Thank you though. Thank you for noticing. So we did a power hour, and let me explain what that is. So this was me going into Telegram, into our School of Dreams chat, and basically answering questions back to back. So for an hour, from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., I was just riffing my ass off, and it was so good. It was so good. Like, the questions were so juicy. And inside SOD, like, there's a variety of ways that you get supported and get mentorship. There's obviously the daily riffs that you can plug into and just like bombard your brain with high vibe energy, shift your focus, come back to your intention for the day, elevate your thoughts, right? Like, my daily riffs are a fucking vibe. If you know, you know. Then we have the Success Energetics Vault, where you have all of my programs, so you can plug and play into any programs you desire. And then we have our bi-weekly coaching calls, where you can get mentorship from me, myself, and I am there to support you in whatever you need on those calls. But then I added just something else because I was like, let me get into the nitty gritty. And that's when I added the Telegram coaching aspect. So we do the power hours, but also riff request weeks. So that's like the new vibe of SOD. And we did one this morning and it was fucking amazing. So good. Then after that, I did a one-on-one call with a client who just signed up to the round 5 of the Extraordinary Mastermind, which isn't until January 2026. Okay. This client joined a mastermind that doesn't start for 6 months. And that to me is just like, what a badass. What a badass. So if you want info on that, you're going to have to DM me because so many people are DMing me. I feel like that mastermind may fill out in a few months. But if you want details on the next round of the Extraordinary Mastermind, DM me the word extra 5, and I'll give you the details because it comes with some awesome bonuses as well. Then after that, I jumped straight onto a call, which I literally just finished with my current new round. We just began yesterday of round 4 of the Extraordinary Mastermind with all of my 8 incredible baddies, and holy fucking shit. Like this group of women is just like blowing my mind. We've been together for 2 days and I feel like the luckiest fucking girl on the planet. I'm like, how did I get so lucky to be surrounded by women like this? I'm just in awe that these powerhouse women are in the space, and I just am so excited for the next 6 months with them. And we just finished our first coaching call literally 20 minutes ago. And here I am doing my podcast episode. So it's been a full day of me being chatty Cathy and loving every fucking second of it. So with that being said, that was a recap of the day so far. Let's get into the topic today, because I feel like it's going to be really insightful and give a lot of behind the scenes of what I truly believe is the key ingredient to your quantum leaps. Come at me, tell me otherwise, okay? After you listen to this episode, if you disagree, I would love for you to tell me why, because this to me is the non-negotiable. It is the absolute requirement to actually elevate your life in any capacity, no matter what your goal is, no matter what career you have, whatever industry you're in, whatever desires you have. This is the work. This is the work. This is the work, okay? Identity upgrades. And in my world, we call this success energetics. So the reason why this is so important and what this feels like for me, to be completely honest with you, is like, and I've heard Abraham Hicks say this analogy with trying to up level your life. I'm butchering her analogy already. So this is like Abraham Hicks / Atanya Jane. Trying to up level any area of your life, trying to go to your next level life success and wealth without doing the identity and success energetics work is like vacuuming your entire house without plugging in the vacuum when the power's not on. You can vacuum your entire house. You can spend an hour doing downstairs, upstairs, outdoor, indoor, vacuuming, end your vacuuming sesh sweaty, exhausted, and be like, all that hard work, nothing to show for it. Dust is everywhere, dirt's all over the floor, everything looks exactly the same, you may as well not even vacuumed. This is an incredible metaphor of why the energetics are so damn important to up-leveling any area of your life. Because we can do the work, we can put ourselves out there, we can exhaust ourselves and do all day long. But if the energetics is not in alignment, if your identity is not in alignment to that next level of life success and wealth, then you're going to continue to be a match to where you're at. We're vacuuming without plugging that shit in. And let's just plug it in, okay? Let's make it easier. Let's plug it in so we get 10 times the results, all right? That's the vibe. Or, because of this analogy, what if we don't even need to plug it in and we use the ones that don't even need a cord? And that's the vibe we're doing now with the energetics. Our vacuum just vacuums by itself. Or we've got a Roomba, all right? That's even better. If you don't know what a Roomba is, it's like one of these little circle things that cleans your house just from an app. We have one and it's fucking awesome. Anyway, now I'm talking about vacuums. Let's get back on track. I think you got the gist of what I'm trying to say. So anyway, every single up level that I personally went through, I had to do this. I had to upgrade the energetics. I had to upgrade my identity. I had to become the next level me. I had to elevate my standards, raise the bar, change the way that I see myself, upgrade my belief system, elevate the way that I think about myself, elevate the way that I see myself, that I see business, the way that I see money, the way that I see life. Everything had to get upgraded. Otherwise, I could not be a match for more. All right. So let's go to the beginning. Phase 1. Phase 1 is when I was going from 0 to my first 100K, which I did in my first year of business. That was 2022, if anyone wanted the number. Which I did in January. I started my business in January of 2022, and that was my first year, and we had a 6-figure year. This was the hardest one. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. Now, upgrading my life is easier because I have the tools, but I've been working the same tools. I've been working the same principles for years, and they always fucking work. It always works. Is it my belief in them or is it the tools? Is it both? I don't know, but I'm here to tell you that it works. It works, and I'm the proof. The proof is in the pudding, and I'm the pudding. So the first time that I started to really upgrade my identity was starting my business and going for my first 6-figure year. Up until that point, I was a broke ass bitch, and I expected to be. I was just like, I don't make money, and that's fine. And that was just who I was. That was just the way that I lived my life. Until I was like, that's going to have to change if I really am going for my first 6-figure year. So then it had to change from the belief system around what I believed I was capable of, what I believed was possible for me. And I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. The first year of my business was very much in the energy of like, let's fuck around and find out. Like, let's just see what I can do here. Let's just see what I'm capable of. Let's just see how we go. The goal is big. 100K for me at that time was mind blowing. Like, that was like, I'm crazy. 100K for me now is like, inevitable, multi 6 figures a year. Of course we can do that. But the only reason why I got there is because of everything that I'm about to tell you right now. So one of the main things that really had to occur in that first year was me changing the way that I saw myself. Up until that point, I saw myself, literally, I identified as a struggling dancer. And a struggling dancer does not have a business who generates 6 figures in that year. That does not align. That does not add up. That the chords are not connecting, okay? So that was the first thing, was I had to really change how I saw myself. And this was not easy for me. Like there was, and I think I've shared this on the podcast, but I also talked about my entire life story, like a few episodes down. So if you want like the BTS of like my journey and my life and my story, then scroll down. There's like 2 episodes called My Story, part 1, part 2. But I remember so vividly, I was walking my dog, and I remember just saying to myself over and over and over again while I was walking my dog, I'm willing to see myself differently. I'm willing to see myself differently, because putting myself out there and claiming that I know what I'm doing about mindset, that I know what I'm doing about manifestation, putting myself out there in an energy of, I have this thing that I can teach you and it's going to get you extraordinary results, literally petrified the hell out of me. And again, the identity was not someone who did that. So doing that didn't feel natural. It didn't feel comfortable. It didn't feel like anything I wanted to fucking have anything to do with, to be honest with you. But I was starting a business. So it's like, okay, well, got to learn, got to grow, got to evolve, got to become the version of me where this is normal. And I was walking my dog being like, struggling with this, because I knew I needed to put myself out there on social media. I knew I needed to start selling my offers. If I was going to hit my goal of my first 100K year, I knew this was going to be something I needed to fucking get over. I needed to face this fear. And the only way I could face it was if I started to see myself differently. So I started to play in the energy of like, what would it feel like if I already had the 100K? And this is not fucking brand new science, okay? This is manifestation 101. Act as if, baby girl. Act as if. But I remember like getting myself in the energy of like, how would I feel if I already was a 6-figure business owner? How would that feel for me? And I couldn't fucking feel it. I was like, nothing. I felt nothing. I was like, how does it feel? How does it feel to make 100K? And I was like, don't feel fucking anything, because that's not possible for me. And then I realized, oh my God, I don't even identify as someone who could possibly even do that. And that's where the real work began of like, I need to change the way I see myself. I need to work on this, because if I don't even believe I can, if I can't even connect to the vision energetically, how am I going to fucking align to this? Like, I'm not going to be in the right energetic state. I'm not going to be the right identity. I'm not going to have the right inspiration, the right downloads. I'm not even going to be available for the downloads to even show up in the way that's going to get me the result. Because again, I'm plugging in the cord while I'm doing the vacuuming, all right? I don't want to vacuum and have dirty fucking floors after I finish vacuuming. I wanted the energetic to be right. And after everything that I had experienced already up until that point, I knew how important my mindset was. I knew that it was fucking everything, to be honest. My mindset was everything. And if I could not get myself on board to see myself at this level of life and level of success and level of wealth and version of me, then I was not going to be able to hit this goal. So that became like my full work in that moment. I was like, I need to see myself differently. I need to allow myself to see myself differently. I need to open myself up to see myself differently. And it was not easy. It did not happen overnight. It was not a fucking light switch. It took time to really release my tight grip from Tanya the dancer and be like, but what if there's more? So that was a massive part of my journey to getting my first 100K. And I did this again and again and again. And it slowly started to feel more like me. I started to ask myself questions like, if I already had a 6-figure business, what would I be doing today? How would I be showing up? Would I be doing IG lives? Would I be seen on Instagram? Would I be selling today? Would I be selling this month? What am I selling? How would I be selling? And I started to play in this energy of like, if I already had it, what would I be doing? Again, nothing fucking new. Manifestation 101. And this is where my identity started to upgrade. And the more I went first, the more it started to feel more normal. And the reason why I wanted to share this is because at every level of your growth and evolution, you're going to feel uncomfortable. It's going to feel fucking crazy. You're going to be like, this feels so unnatural and I would literally rather do anything else. And I riff on this all the time in my spaces with my clients, because it's really important that I share this with you, because I think when we look at social media and we're seeing people just showing up and putting themselves out there, and it's so easy and it's so normalized and it's just like, do this, do that. And you're looking at everyone being like, does anyone else feel this fucking petrified? Like, am I the only one that's having a hard time doing this? But it's like, of course you are. Of course you're having a hard time. And at every phase, and we're not trying to manifest hard times. All I'm saying, please, definitely fucking not. All I'm saying is, don't beat yourself up if it doesn't feel normal, easy, right out the gate. Like, you're learning to become someone new. You're learning to be seen as a whole new elevated version of you. And I did the big fat riff on this in SOD yesterday, and it was really fucking good if you ask me. It was really good around like how our identity plays so much in our success. And if we don't catch our current limiting beliefs and our current identity crutches where we're not allowing ourselves to grow and evolve outside of who we know ourselves to be, how detrimental that is to our evolution. Okay, so we go first. I started showing up. I started feeling the fear, being so uncomfortable and doing it anyway. And I started to become the version of me where posting on social media felt more easy. Selling at first felt petrifying. You guys, the first time that I put up a flyer for a free masterclass, okay, free masterclass, I wasn't even selling. The first time I put up a flyer, this was in January 2022. The first time I put up a flyer, I threw my phone in my bedroom and took my dog on a walk, because I was like, if I stay in this apartment, I'm going to delete this post, because who am I to put myself up there? Every part of me was like, take it down. I don't want people to see me like this. I'm freaking out. What if no one signs up? Like, that's where I started. But of course that's where I started, because I was doing something I'd never done before at a level I've never been at before. And it was scary and it was uncomfortable. And I literally had to remove myself from my apartment and my phone for an extended period of time so I could calm myself down and not delete the fucking post. So anyway, with all of this being said, the main identity upgrade that had to occur for me to go from 0 to my first 6 figures was a willingness to see myself differently. I had to stop seeing myself and stop identifying as Tanya the struggling dancer. And I know I say that quite often, not in that way, but like I had to stop identifying as Tanya the dancer and this is the only life I know, this is who I am, I'm broke and these are the stories I tell about money and I'm only good at this and this is all I need, like all I can do. I needed to stop telling those fucking stories. Quit, disrupt, bye. Disrupt the pattern. I needed to disrupt my pattern. And honestly, this is what you will continue to do. At every new level, it will be an identity upgrade, which means you need to upgrade your success energetics, thoughts, beliefs, self-image, which also means you need to disrupt your patterns. You need to catch where you're being old self, disrupt the pattern, move, enters new self. In that moment, in real time, you go first and the universe responds. You are the leading energy of your life. You are the leading energy of your business. You are the leading energy of your bank account. Everything in your life that you see, that you love, that you're connected to, you're the leading energy of your experience in that thing, your experience of that thing. If you want to elevate anything, your bank account, your life, your success, you need to elevate the way you're showing up to it. And you're going to lead yourself in a new way, and the universe will respond to you and meet you where you're at. It'll meet you there. But it can't meet you at a higher standard in life if you're not fucking raising the bar for yourself. Okay? So the first identity upgrade was a willingness to see myself differently. A willingness to be like, I am a businesswoman. Holy fuck. I am a businesswoman. And just letting myself have the time and spaciousness to let that shit sink into my new DNA. Okay? And that took some time, but I fucking hit my goal. So it worked. And that's how I hit my first 100K. Let me move on to the next thing. The next identity upgrade that needed to occur. This was now going from, okay, I've hit 100K. Now we're moving to the multi-six figures. So I'm going to kind of clump in this experience. I'm going to kind of like join it together. So this is now going into the multi-six figures. So going from like 200 to 500 plus. Okay. 500K plus in my business. The main thing, this has a few different layers that I'm not going to go into too deeply on this call, because there was like business model upgrades, offers needed to change, the way that I was leading offers needed to change, which, by the way, am I going to tell this right now? Fuck it. It's already come out of my mouth. I may as well just say it. At the end of the month, I am holding a course creation workshop that will be 2 hours for the School of Dreams. Now, I was going back and forth on if I was going to open this up to people to join. And I am still, I'm still a little unsure. But while I'm saying this, here's what I'm going to say. So if you're hearing this and you want in, then here's the details. It's going to be a 2-hour workshop, and the main focus of this workshop is I'm going to teach you how to create dream fucking offers that you're obsessed with, that you are obsessed with first, and then have your dream clients obsessed with and re-signing months in advance. This is the vibe of the 2-hour workshop. I'm going to teach you how to create an offer, price an offer, structure an offer, sell an offer, structure like your business model. Like, we're going to talk about all of this shit. It's going to be a 2-hour workshop. If you want in, and if you're not in School of Dreams and you want in, DM me course workshop, and I will give you a very fucking special deal to jump in. And this can be my 4th of July deal. So if you want in, it's an outrageous price. I may not sell it later. So if you're interested and you want to learn my way of creating courses, then DM me course workshop, and I will give you the details of this 2-hour workshop that I'm going to be holding at the end of the month for the School of Dreams, and it's going to be fucking fire. So anyway, wasn't going to tell you that, but there we go. DM me course workshop. Okay, I need to focus. Been talking all day. Been talking too long. Okay, so now going from 200 to, let's just add in where I'm at now. 200 to 600K. That's a big jump. That's like an extra can't even do math. It's like an extra $400,000, $500,000. Okay, there was a lot of identity upgrades, but let me talk about the main one at this new level, right? At this new level. It was making this new level of life the normal. There was a part of me that feared maybe it was a fluke. Maybe my first 100K was just luck. Maybe it was just lucky. And there was so much of my brain going, what if I can't keep it up? What if I can't redo this? What if I can't replicate this? What if this is the end? What if it stops here? And what I really needed to ground into, and again, this was an identity upgrade, was I needed to change my belief system around what I believed was normal, expected, and standard when it comes to my life, success, and wealth. This is where the business really started to gain momentum, and it started to make 5 figures as the norm. It was making 15 to 20K on repeat very effortlessly. Whether I launched or not, somehow that amount of money was every month, and it was very consistent. And that phase of my business was a really powerful phase for me, because I really worked on the identity of like, this is just the new floor that I walk upon now. Like this is just it. But that took me expanding my nervous system to find safety at this new level, me grounding into this new level and anchoring into this identity as like, this is just who I am now. There isn't even an option. Going back's like, I'm unavailable for it. I'm unavailable for it. This is just how life is. This is what I expect. This is what I receive. This is how life goes for me. And I really, really, really fucking worked on making this level of life, success, and wealth a new normal. Now, that really, the process to that wasn't that different to what I did in the beginning. It was the success energetics and identity work. It was seeing myself as someone who always makes that amount of money. It was embodying the version of me who always makes that amount of money, which means showing up for my business in a way that always makes that amount of money. It was all of these factors. It was me being that leading energy of my life and my business and my wealth, me leading my life at a new level, walking on a new floor, setting a new energetic tone, holding this new standard, and making this shit just who I was. Making this shit just a standard, just a new normal. And that took me holding that fucking frequency morning, noon, and night. And when I would catch those old thoughts coming in, when I would catch limiting beliefs coming in around like, can I keep this up? What if it doesn't stay? What if I can't do this? What if it goes away? I would just be like, what the fuck am I talking about? Like, I would literally talk to myself like that and be like, shut the fuck up. Who's saying that? Who's saying that in my mind? Go away. Like, flick you away like a fly. Get out of here. You don't belong here anymore. And again, you know, we all speak to ourselves differently. Okay. You don't need to speak to yourself in that aggressive way. But that was the way that I handled this. I was like, I don't think these thoughts anymore. Like, this is just expected. This is standard. And that took work. That took aligning to that version of me where I could hold that frequency as a baseline. I needed to raise the baseline, make the baseline the new normal. And that was the success energetics work I did at that level. Now, obviously at that level, I was also really working on my business model. I was really working on strategies that felt aligned for me to be bringing in that kind of cash flow on repeat and quite effortlessly without burning out. And I do a lot in my business. I show up, I'm consistent. I am leading containers 24/7 in the background when you guys aren't seeing me on social media. And I don't burn out. I don't feel exhausted at all. Like, I'm loving this podcast right now. I'm enjoying it with all my might, right? And like, the reason why I'm able to do that is because of my belief system and also the structure and the business model I've created for myself based off what I desired for my life. We talked about this in the Aligning to 100K experience. I built my business based off my dream lifestyle. Everything I do in my business aligns to the level of lifestyle I want to live. So I didn't build a business to then live a life later. I created the lifestyle and built the business to support it. This is the mentorship style that I do. This is what I do with my clients, especially in the Extraordinary Mastermind, because I'm very hands-on. Very hands-on. I'm all up in your business. Something else that had to happen at this level, at the multi-six-figure level, was I really had to own my zone of genius. So at this level, this is where the term success energetics really got downloaded for me. This was where I really started to show up in this way of like, this is the work that I'm good at. This is my zone of genius. This is my lane. And that did wonders for my business because it made me have less distractions. It helped me stop looking around at what everyone else was doing because I was like, I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm good at. I know what my zone is. I know how I help you quantum leap. I know how I help you make more money. I know how I help you pop the fuck off in your life. I know how I do that. And that's through success energetics. So this was a massive part of my identity, was really being like, fuck, I'm good at that thing right there. That's what I'm not only good at, but that's also what's the most fun for me. I have so much fun when I get into the nitty gritty energetic conversations with my clients. It like is the light of my fucking life. I love it so much. I can't shut the fuck up about it. So finding my zone of genius and realizing not only am I really good at this, but I love this so much, helped me dial in on my offers even more. It helped me get even more potent on my Instagram. And then came like the identity upgrade of claiming I'm an expert in this field, in this way. I'm an expert at this. So that was an identity upgrade that occurred at that level of my business. That was the multi-six figures. Now, was there anything else I wanted to talk to you about in there? Oh, okay. So what I want to add for this, which kind of goes into the fears that I had around like, can I keep this up? What if I can't? What if this just slows down? What if it was a fluke? Blah, 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 blah. The other thing with this was at this level, I did upgrade my lifestyle. We now moved into this house. Okay. I hired a team. So now my rent's 3 times the amount. I'm paying thousands for my team, and I'm also paying thousands for mentorship. So my monthly expenses also went up. Okay. So at this new amount of money that I was not comfortable spending every month, all of a sudden became, and this is just what has to happen. I have to make more money because I have more expenses. Upgrading my lifestyle was the best decision ever. I'm always making moves like that. And if you know me long enough or heard my story long enough, I did this from the beginning. I got a Mercedes-Benz right out the gate, okay? I had no business driving that car. I couldn't even afford it. Don't even know how the gods gave me that lease. Now I own the car. But in the beginning, me driving off a lot with a brand new Mercedes when 8 weeks earlier I was struggling to pay my $800 rent doesn't make sense. That doesn't clock, but yet that's what happened. And I do this all the time. I put myself in situations, don't recommend this. I'm not telling you to do this, but also this is what I've done and it worked for me. So listen if you like, but I would do things that anchor me into an elevated version of me, that would anchor me into a new level of lifestyle. Getting my car was one of them. It was a moment where I was like, I'm never being broke again. A, because I really can't afford to be broke because I need to pay this car. B, unavailable, not even interested, not even entertaining the thought. Like, doesn't even exist in this reality anymore, which is actually quite fascinating. And I will share this for a second. What's interesting about this was a few weeks ago, I was seeing a friend and they asked me, well, I was at a friend's get together and one of them asked me if I miss dancing. And my answer actually shocked me as well. But my answer was, honestly, I don't even think about dancing. And the reason for that is not necessarily because I don't miss it or I do miss it or whatever. I said, I'm not even the same person. I don't even identify as someone who used to, who dances. My identity is upgraded so much that I don't even think about the dance industry. It has zero reference to me. And that was fascinating for me to hear myself say that, but it also shows you how much an identity upgrade goes into play to help you get the results that you want. But when that was my life, that was my fucking life. That's who I identified as. But right now I identify as a wealthy woman. I identify as a very successful business owner. My new goal is a seven figure woman, a $1 million business owner. I'm playing in this energy because this is the new identity that I'm stepping into. And that identity, that version of me doesn't think about dancing. I just don't. So that was my answer. I was like, it's not that I don't miss it or I do miss it. I just don't even think about it because it has nothing to do with what I do right now. And it's just irrelevant to what I do, kind of thinking about jobs and I just don't think about it. And I'm just not the same person was my answer, which again, identity upgrades. This is why it's so powerful, because if you want a different level of life, if you want a different reality, if you want to pivot, get out of your current job, change jobs, upgrade jobs, change cities, change towns, you've got to identify with someone who's doing something different. Because that version of you doing something different wouldn't be where you are, wouldn't be doing what you're doing. And that means when we identify as that elevated version of self, we think differently, we feel different, we act different, we make moves differently, we show up differently, and it gets different results. It's really not that complicated. Really not that complicated. All right, let me wrap this up. So, oops, just spat my water out. Sorry, everyone. Okay. Last but not least, my identity now, where I'm at now. Obviously, I just shared. I am vibing with, embodying, touching, playing in the field, in the energetic dimension with the version of me who runs a 7-figure business. I am so close. I am a couple 100K away from hitting that number, crossing that milestone. It's just a matter of time. It's so exciting. I'm anticipating it. I'm feeling it. I'm excited for it. I can feel it. I can see it. I can feel it. I'm doing the work. I do the work that I teach all my clients. I'm doing it currently. Now, where I wanted to share what's coming up for me around this identity upgrade is something that only came up like last week, and I was talking to my mentor about it because I was like, whoa, I didn't realize this was still a thing. Was obviously now at the level that I'm at now, I'm making more money than ever before. Bills are clearly all taken care of. I have more money in my savings account than ever before. I have just more money everywhere. There's more cash, there's more recurring revenue, there's more in my bank account. There's just like life is just very different. And something that I was having a conversation with her about was I was sharing that there was a moment when I felt myself contract when I was buying something at the store. And I was buying something that was only a couple $100. And I was like, this feeling is so normal for me. And I've felt this feeling so many times. Not a lot anymore. It's very rare that I like get stuck in a feeling like that. But what blew me away about this moment was I was buying something at the store. It was only a couple $100. Granted, I had just invested in, like, there was some expenses that I had. Like, we were going to, obviously, Mexico. I just upgraded my mentorship with my current mentor. So there was, like, expenses. So maybe that was, like, to do with the contraction I felt. But I was spending a couple $100 at the store. And I felt myself be like, now that's too much. Like, you need to slow down. Like, too much. Stop spending money. Which, like, it's no right or wrong, right? But it was coming from an energy of slow down because it may slow down. Like that, there's not enough. There's not enough. There's not enough. And what blew me away by that thought, feeling, that actually felt like a very familiar energy that my body felt, was I was like, I've felt this before. But there was also a reality where that was very true, right? There was a reality in my life where I was like, maybe I didn't have enough, so maybe I should slow down. But where this struck me was I was like, why am I feeling this? Because that's not even my reality. There's more than enough. I'm safe to spend this couple $100. Like, it's really not that big of a deal. Where is this coming from? And then I realized that I still had some habits that my body and patterns that my body, and again, going back to what I was saying earlier, I need to disrupt these patterns that identify with a version of me that is on a lower timeline. And if I want to become the millionaire version of me, that's not in alignment to that. I wouldn't feel like that at the cash register. That wouldn't be a feeling that I have. And I just noticed this because I was like, wow, the body, and like, obviously we know this. And if you do any body work, nervous system work, this is probably a big part of your world, but like our bodies hold so much emotion. They hold so many narratives, identity, like it's coded in our DNA, how we feel about certain things, especially when it comes to money. And I just was blown away by that because it was such a solid realization of my body telling me what to feel. But I noticed it so hard because I was like, it's so far from the truth. Like I couldn't even pretend like, maybe it's right. Like I was like, why do I feel like that? Because this is not real or true. Like I'm not unsafe at all. I have plenty there. And I realized it was a habit. It was a pattern that was lingering. It was a lingering pattern from an identity that I'm outgrowing. But also it needs my attention because that pattern does not align to the level of wealth that I want to embody. So I need to disrupt that pattern and I need to choose a different belief system around spending, saving, investing. I need to upgrade the way that I view spending, saving, and investing. I need to change the pattern that I feel when I spend, invest, and save money. This needs to upgrade to actually align to the version of me I want to become. So that was something that blew me away. That happened just like a week ago. And I was like, I'm going to need a journal on that one. So I'm sharing things that are happening in real time. So I am like actively working through it. So I don't have like the end result yet, but it was just like an aha moment. But even though I don't have the end result, I've gone through this shit so many times at so many different levels of my life, so many different levels of my relationship with money, so many different levels of my relationship with success, with things in my lifestyle, that I know the process. I'm aware of the process. I have the tools, I work the tools, and we move and evolve. And this is something that came up that I was like, interesting. Okay, wow, that's a pattern that is not in alignment to that next level. Another thing that came up the other day was I realized that I was, these are like emotions and energetic patterns that came up. So that one was around money. And then something that came up the other day was I felt a little bit of like how do I explain this? I felt a little bit of an energy of what am I doing with my business for the next 6 months of the year? Like what's the plan? What's the plan? What am I doing? And my business has been pretty solid and pretty steady for a couple years now. Like I've been very lucky that my business got to a pretty consistent point very early on in my business. But I noticed this pattern come up of like, what's the plan? But it wasn't coming from a place of like, what's the plan? Like, what are we doing? Let me get creative. Let me get in my zone. And again, because of where I'm currently at in my business, I was like, why is this thought coming up in such a panicked fucking way? Like, what am I so stressed about right now? Like, why is this causing so much like, quick, we gotta move. And I was like, no, we don't. No, we fucking do not. Like, I don't actually need to move. Like, everything's good. Business is fine. Like, what's up? And again, thank God for mentorship, because then I spoke to her about this and I was like, it's interesting. And we kind of unpacked this together. And I was like, it's interesting because I'm noticing these old patterns, but because my reality is so far from that being real or true or me needing to listen to that to survive, I'm realizing how much old programming is still in my responses. And obviously I have a shit ton of awareness. And this is like my favorite fucking thing to do on the planet is dissect energetics when it comes to success. So when I'm noticing this shit for myself, I'm like, oh, let me hit the journal. Let me figure this shit out so I can come on my podcast and talk all about it. But obviously I still need to figure this out. This is only like a week ago as well. But I wanted to share in real time because I never usually share things in real time. But these are things that are coming up now that I'm realizing they're coming up. They feel real and true in the moment. But because my reality is so far from what this feeling is trying to get my attention on, I can tell that it's a lie, like with flying colors. And I've been pretty good at this throughout my whole journey. And I've been pretty aware of these things my whole journey. I just was really shocked that it still came up even at the level that I'm at now. And this was where I really realized I need to upgrade again. I need to upgrade the belief system, the identity, the self-image, the patterns, the habits. Because that slight energetic disruption in my energy is not aligned to where I'm going. And so if that's not aligned, then what do I feel when I'm spending? What do I feel when I'm spending more than usual? What do I feel when I look at planning for my business for the next 6 months, for the next quarter? How do I feel? And this is like the work I do with my clients. It's conscious co-creation of your life. Getting clear on the limiting beliefs, getting clear on your old patterns and catching them in real time. But that's not enough. It's not enough to just be like, I'm aware of that. That's a sabotaging pattern. Oh, I'm aware that that's a weird feeling. I don't like that. I want to change that. That's not aligned to my next level identity. That's just step one. Awareness is step one. Now, what are you going to do with that awareness? Okay. Now we change the reaction. We change the response. We get clear on what we do want to feel. We create it. We become the version of us that says, no, this is how I handle investments, savings, and spendings moving forward. This is it. That doesn't mean the feeling's going to go away overnight. It's not. It's going to come up again. And then when it comes up again is your opportunity to set the new energetic tone, to set the new leadership frequency that you're bringing to your life, to set the new energy of like how you're going to feel in these moments, in these circumstances, how you're going to lead yourself in your business, in your finances. It's our opportunity when we feel old self coming in, it's our opportunity to respond to old self as new self. And say, there's no space for you here, babes. Like, there's no space for that shit here. That's not what we do here anymore. This is what we do here. This is how we feel here. This is what we believe here. This is how we move. This is how we feel when it comes to money, when it comes to my business, when it comes to my offers, right? So that's what I was navigating. Well, that's what has come up over the past few weeks, which has showed me where my identity needs to evolve to actually align to the level of life success and wealth that I know I'm capable of and also desire. This is just desire, right? Like this is just, what do I desire? This is what it gets to be. You get to choose what you want. You get to feel into what you desire because you get to, not because you have to or you need to, or you're not good enough if you don't. We get to hit extraordinary numbers in our life. We get to make a shit ton of money, and from that place go, and I'm still getting started, and there's more. But even when we do that, it's going to come with an identity upgrade. So I'll keep you posted. I'll keep you posted on how that goes for me. But this is obviously work I love to do. So I lean in. I lean into that shit. I'm like, oh, that was an off fucking frequency. What did that mean? I need to talk about this. So I am going to continue to do my success energetics work. I'm sure there will be plenty more of lessons and energy frequency shift dynamic things that need to be upgraded, elevated, and evolved to help me align to my next level. And I can't fucking wait to do it. So with that being said, that is the end of my episode. Let me know if you resonated with this. Let me know if it was interesting to hear this side of my business growth and the behind the scenes kind of things. And also, let me know what you want to hear on this podcast. What do you want more of? What do you want me to talk about? Is there anything specific you're like, do an episode on this? Or I want to know about this, or I want you to talk about this. Feel free to send me a DM and share anything you would like me to talk about on the podcast. I'm an open book. I would love to share anything that you guys desire. And if you are interested in getting this special deal that may only be available for 4th of July sale, DM me course workshop, and I will give you the details of the 2-hour course creation workshop that I'm going to be holding for School of Dreams. And again, the vibe of that is going to be how to create dream offers that you are obsessed with, cannot fucking wait to do, can't wait to sell, can't wait to show up. How to create dream offers you're obsessed with, and also offers that your dream clients are re-signing months in advance. This is the fucking vibe. Okay, so if you want deets on that, I have a fucking crazy deal that may just be gone after the weekend. So DM me course workshop, the words course workshop, if you would like information. Let me read this question really quick. Would you say this mentality and approach is how you'd recommend to proceed with relationships romantic with men specifically? 100%. Okay, let me get on a tangent real quick about this. The codes are the codes. Whether you're applying an upgraded identity to your life, success, and wealth, or your relationships, the codes are the codes. We've all had friends, or maybe you've been that friend, where you have a repeating pattern in your cycle of dating. You're dating the same men. They're disrespecting, or they're cheating, or they're doing the same patterns, or there's a fucking pattern there. You continue to date the same people, you get the same result, and maybe they do things differently, but you feel a certain type of way. Or maybe they're not bad at all. Maybe it's not that extreme, okay? Obviously, that's an extreme pattern that is very fucking present, right? But at the end of the day, the reason why you're getting that experience, you're getting that result, is because you are available for that. And I know it's kind of brutal, but like, hear me out. There's a standard in the way that you have set how available you are to be spoken to with your time, with your energy, who you allow in your space, what you allow to be okay around you. That's a standard. We have a standard of everything in our life. There's a standard of business that you're cool with, a standard of relationships you're cool with, a standard of money you're cool with. Even if you're not cool with it, there's a standard that you have set of what you're available for and what you're unavailable for. You have this energetic minimum and maximum. When we want to raise the bar and start attracting higher caliber relationships, whether that is men, clients, friendships, it doesn't matter. When you want to raise the bar in the type of relationships you want to attract, you need to raise the standard that you hold for the relationships in your life. What are you available for? What are you unavailable for? What are the new beliefs that you need to believe about yourself at this new standard? This is, I believe that I'm always treated with respect, that men, I believe that there are good men out there who will value a woman with who's a high achiever and who values her career. I believe that, or whatever it is for you. But this comes down to you raising the bar, raising the standard for what you accept and expect in all areas of your life, including your relationships, and then doing the success energetics work, doing the identity upgrade. Now, what this comes down to, another example for you, is kind of like what I was saying when like I felt my old self coming back in. And old self could come back in with a feeling, with a limiting belief, with a thought, with a fear. And I could give that attention if I want. And if I give that attention long enough, I'll start to identify as that version of me again, which means I start making choices and decisions as that version of me again. Okay? So until I go, fuck that, no thanks, here's new self, here's what I'm deciding, here's how I'm moving forward, here's what I'm available and unavailable for. I don't do that anymore. This is what I do instead. Now, when we apply this to dating, when you're raising the bar of what you're available for, let's say someone comes into your life and you can tell this is the same pattern, the same energy that you have felt in your past. Old self, current self may be like, let me just give it a go. You never know. Let me just go on a date. But is that actually aligned for you? This is where you've got to raise the bar and be like, I'm actually not available for anyone who's not in a serious, for an example, let me just do an actual example. If you're someone who really wants a serious relationship, you're ready to take dating very seriously, you're ready to find your soulmate, and someone comes into your life who's beautiful, hot, amazing, gorgeous, and they're like, yeah, I'm not that serious right now. And you're like, well, let me just go on a date because he's so beautiful and you just never know. It's like, no, you get to put your foot down and be like, totally respect that. But as of right now, this is the standard I have for my life. I'm only giving my time and energy to people who are at a level who are ready to be fully committed. And if that's not you, I respect that. I'm okay with that, but I won't be like, I'm not available. Sorry, bye, next. We raise the bar, we raise the standard, but that's an identity upgrade. That's you seeing yourself differently. That's changing what you say yes and no to. That's changing how you react, how you respond. Right? This is all an identity, and we can apply the codes to literally any area of our life. But that was an example of how this applies to relationships. And clearly I could go on and on and on about that, but let me know if that made sense. And you can actually, I know your handle is a specific business name, but I think your name's Jazz. If you want to DM me if that resonated with you, I would love to know. But for anyone on the podcast, I'm going to wrap this up, but let me know if you guys want me to dive into anything specific on the pod. I love you all. I'm going to Cabo. Actually, by the time this airs on Thursday, I'll be in Cabo, and I'm going to have a fucking awesome weekend. I can't wait. All right. I love you guys. If you want to join the course creation workshop, let me know. DM me course workshop and I will give you the deets. It's fucking awesome. So don't skip. Don't skip. Do not skip. All right. Love you guys. Bye. Yay! Okay, amazing. I'm so glad, Jazz. I'm so glad. All right, you guys, I will wrap up here because I've been on here for fucking ages. I love you guys too. I will talk to you all soon. Bye.